Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for the third and final Puzzle Quest video. First, I thought I'd answer a couple questions that I've been getting on it. One, how am I playing with a mouse and on a PC? Well, one, my tablet's broken. Two, my tablet's too slow to record the game anyway. And three, well, it's called BlueStacks. It's a free emulator, one of the best developed, one of the fastest out there, so that's cool. It runs the game absolutely flawlessly. If you don't own an Apple or Android device, then hey, install BlueStacks on your computer and play whatever mobile games you want. And boy, is it precise with the mouse. Also, I've noticed that my video editing / gaming PC tends to run out of batteries a lot less often than my tablet. I suspect it might be because it doesn't run on batteries. But hey, whether you've got a computer or a mobile device, definitely check out MTG Puzzle Quest. Also, I should mention that D3 Go, the makers of the game, they make a ton of really good, really famous games. They're notorious for making solid, popular games. They also make other versions of Puzzle Quest. There's another one called Marvel Puzzle Quest, and I've heard about it from a lot of my friends who said they played that. And it's really similar and has 10 to 20 times more players. Hello. Hey, there's a lot of Marvel movies out there. It makes sense. And yeah, everything they do is 100% licensed. When you're loading the MTG Puzzle Quest, you can see it says, licensed or authorized or whatever by Wizards of the Coast. Just say no to Chinese ripoffs, people. Play the legit stuff. I also have people asking about some specific gameplay elements. Well, I've got an idea, download the game. But besides that, yes, it does have kind of like guilds or clans or whatever where you can kind of group up. I didn't join one because I'm always a lone wolf in every game I play. They obviously have human versus human. They have human versus AI in story mode. They also have a challenge mode, which I haven't showed yet. That's like you versus a close to maxed out planeswalker, or at least like level 50. Honestly, some of my planeswalkers out-level them, but yeah, their abilities are usually maxed, and it's a pretty good challenge. As far as fairness, balancing, difficulty, and all that, it is like as good, if not better, than actual Magic the Gathering, and I can't believe I'm saying that. There are very, very few broken deck types that I've seen. Everything's fair. Everything's beatable. Every single AI opponent that you're going to go up against is beatable. There's one that I absolutely cannot stand, but I think it's like level 96. So at that point, yeah, it might take, 20, 30, 40 tries to beat him. That's just reasonable. Everything else, yeah, I got stuck for a little bit, but then I restructured my deck, maybe fought them with a different planeswalker, and yeah, I made it past. So the game design is absolutely brilliant. I've never had it freeze up, never had it crash, and that's, considering it's running on an emulator, that's pretty good. So hopefully that answers some questions, but if you have any other questions about the game, to the best of my ability, I will answer it down in the comment section, so leave anything you're still wondering about the game down there. So with all that covered, I have to get into just a couple brief tips to make you an ideal player. The number one way to be better at the game is to generate more mana, and the number one question I get from new players is, how come the computer player always generates more mana than me? They always get this cascading effect where they link multiples. Well, deck design does come into it, but I would say definitely don't forget to look ahead to information that you already have, especially if you're doing a really, really low match, especially when it's horizontal as opposed to vertical. When you're going to link up 3 horizontally, you know what's going to fall where, and like a whole column of 3 is going to go down. So you can plan ahead of time and say, yes, this will link up multiple. Then when you do it, you're at least going to get the 2 that you can see, plus whatever else happens. Now, as far as spotting things goes, don't miss double flips. In really dense areas of kind of the same colors, you can usually flip 2 to double match 3 and 3. And don't forget to check even if it's not in your colors. Now let's move past what you can see on the board, because, usually you won't be able to spot any kind of good matches because there just are no good matches. So you want to up your blind unknown probability of matching some colors after your initial move. Well, if you pretend that every single gem is a square and every single side is a potential match, the most new sides brushing up against more new sides is more potential for more matches. So obviously vertical matches are better than horizontal, and anything further down on the game field is better than higher on the game field because it will cause more total movement and more new gems to drop onto the field. Now let me just pause for a second. While that is true with, kind of soft logic, the hard logic of it is when you get to the most, detailed analysis of what's on the screen, you've got Planeswalker, Unknown, Black. Well, nothing of that can make 3. And then you've got White, Unknown, Red. Well, that won't make 3. And then you've got Black, Unknown, White. Well, nothing in there can make 3. So, while theoretically more surfaces ups the odds of more potential matches, you also really do have to look for just 2 in a row next to the column that you're about to drop. So take a look at this scenario. I'm about to flip the 2 that are highlighted in white. So you'll get 3 green in a row, they'll disappear, and then obviously you'll get 3 Planeswalker gems in a row all stacked up, so, don't discount that. But besides that, it's a good-looking potential column, because if you look all the way up it to the point where you don't know what's going to drop, which, well, after all is said and done, you're going to have 1 white on the bottom and who knows what the rest are, you've got Black, Unknown, Black, going horizontally, and then you've got green, green, unknown, green, green, unknown. So if it drops a green one into the top, a green one into the second row, or a black one into the third row, I've automatically got a third match at that point. Oh, and of course, let's not forget the 2 Planeswalker gems in a row on the very top, on the right side of the unknown column, and then, of course, the white that is on the left and right. All of those are potential matches, so let's see what happens. Wow, that is a couple matches. Now, it won't always work out that way, but you're certainly upping your odds with all of the potential cascading effects. I could give a ton of tips on deck building in general, but it's basically the same exact thing as Magic the Gathering. Like, if you're going to play blue control, have a consistent theme. If you're going to bounce creatures back to hand, then, put in 3 cards that bounce creatures back to hand so that you can consistently do that. And the whole point of your deck is to not let anything get on the field. So, deck building, not exactly new to most of you, but as far as just mechanics specific to this game, the support cards are a little bit unique in that they stay on the field and they're kind of supposed to feel like enchantments where they are destroyable, but it's not easy. And this is what one looks like. It's pointing to me because I owned it and it affects me. And then it has a 2 on it because that's the number of times it would have to be matched or otherwise destroyed before it's permanently destroyed. Now, there are some supports that have a value of like 9, where they're just going to be there for the rest of the game, basically, because you just can't hit them that many times. But for one of the more fragile ones, 1 card definitely comes to mind, and it's my favorite card. We're going back to Origins with Claustrophobia. This costs 9, so it's no joke. And it only comes out with a single, I'll say, usage or counter or whatever on it. So all they have to do is destroy it 1 time, but this is so important to keep on the field because it states, while this support is in play, the first creature your opponent controls is disabled. Yeah, this is in that bounce deck I was talking about before. I actually built it. So the first creature that's on the field cannot swing. It is disabled. It can't block. It can't swing. It can't do anything. It is completely disabled. A huge portion of the rest of the deck bounces a card back to hand, or a creature, I should say. So if the creature in the second and third spot get bounced back to hand constantly, and then whatever's in the first spot gets pinned down or also bounced back to hand, they just can't swing at me for the entire game. So I need the support to be on the field, especially if I'm pinning down a 16/16 creature, and as soon as Claustrophobia leaves the field, it's going to start swinging at me. Well, mathematically, in general, the most ideal location for that support would be the bottom left or bottom right corner. Those 2 locations have the lowest possible chance to be matched up with another blue gem in general, or just destroyed in general, because they're only touching 2 other gems. Now, if the bottom left and right corner are absolutely filled with blue, okay, you want to get it as far away from blue as possible, that's kind of a given, but other than that, that is the most safe location. Now, it's pretty darn difficult to get them into the corner because usually it involves flipping the gem itself to match something else next to it, and only leftward or rightward, but it is pretty easy to move it downward. That's just like what will happen naturally whether you try to or not, pretty much. Once it's in a really good position, and even, well, before it is, definitely try to make matches as far away as possible from it in case you accidentally interact with it with like a cascading effect. And also make sure not to accidentally shoot it from the other side of the grid with a 4 match, because when you match 4, it shoots the entire row and destroys everything left and right of it or above and below it for vertical or horizontal, and I have accidentally destroyed my own support doing that. Usually it's not worth the mana you would gain, considering Claustrophobia costs 9, for example. Okay, I think I might have said that the last tip was the final one, but I just had to throw this in. Okay, I'm playing as Jace, and you can see Jace's colors are white, black, and especially blue. So I would look for blue matches first, then I'd check for white and black, and in case of emergency, I would do green or red. There's one thing wrong with that, though. There's some pretty good black matches. You can see there's, one on the top. There's one right here. They are horizontal, which, like I said, is worse than vertical. My Planeswalker loyalty is really low. It's at 3 out of 30 right now, so doing the loyalty right here would be really nice. But, well, as you can see, it's recommending it to me by flashing it here. Never, ever, 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 ever miss 5 in a row. So this will count. It is, around a corner, but it will count. Boom, there's 5, 1 extra swap. So no matter if you gained, 3 mana from it, 4 mana, 5 mana, whatever, you are definitely going to want the extra swap because it's potential for more to fall, more to cascade, and then you always get the extra move. Now, against the Eldrazi, they can actually turn gems into clear. It's kind of like their ingest thing. You can actually match up 5 in a row of the clear mana. It will do quite literally nothing for you, but then you get an extra match and you got some of their stupid pointless gems off the field. So you can see now one of the best things I could do is the 4 black in a row, but it's actually more advantageous to do 3 blue in a row because matching black gives +1 and matching blue gives +3. So if I did 4, I would get 5 mana and it would be horizontal. It would drop these. There's nothing to match on the left side. And on the right side, it would only match a potential of, well, let's see, we got this would drop. This would go to here. That would go to here. That would go to there. No matches, just 1. There's 1 potential for a match other than ones you don't naturally drop from the top, which downward there's no pairs of 2. So it's just a bad prospect overall. So what I should do is actually, well, and plus this is a double match here, 3 across, 3 top, match these up for a total of 6 mana. And look at that. I was able to cascade it. Perfect. So never, 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 never miss out on 5 in a row. I don't care what color it is. It could even be 5 loyalty in a row. You really, really, really have to hit them for the just extra chance at who knows what. So hopefully with all these tips, you can learn to play better and just beat better opponents with a little bit thinner decks and a little bit lower powered planeswalkers. I will tell you that certain games that were looking pretty grim when I started generating double to triple the amount of mana as my opponent, it turned around pretty dang quick. The cool side effect of getting really, really good at mana generation and matching is that you can put, 10 plus cost cards in your deck and actually cast them. Because if you would, on average, generate 4 mana per turn and you have like a 21 cost spell, which is actually in one of my decks, it would take you 6 turns to generate that much mana. I mean, 6 turns, they could have cast 3 or 4 spells in that time. I mean, you might just get demolished. By the way, if you really like the idea of generating mad mana, you've probably seen it in other gameplay videos I've put in the background of other videos or the past couple in this series. Nissa. Nissa is all about mana generation. During your upkeep, she'll flip a couple gems to green with most of the spells that, come with her deck. And then, her abilities will flip a couple more to green. Then when you attack, a couple more will flip to green if you use Sword of the Animist. Oh, and then this creature entered the battlefield. That's right, flip a couple more to green. And every time you change something to green, you potentially might link up 3. And then it will count. No matter what you're doing, it will generate mana. Now, other decks can do this with cards like Corrupt Graphstone. It only costs 7. You throw it out there, and it'll convert 1 or 2 gems to your color. Oh, and I mean repeatedly, every single turn. You can't discount that, and they all work together. Like with Nissa, my whole deck flips stuff to green, so it's not unusual to generate, 20 mana per turn. I know that sounds completely mental, but that's what it is, and then I just keep casting stuff and casting stuff. It's fun, it's relentless, and I just love watching the animation of mountains of mana feed my row. So if you haven't checked out the game yet, definitely check it out. D3 Go is nice enough to sponsor my channel by sponsoring these 3 videos that I made about it. And besides the funds helping me out personally, I bought much, much, much better editing software. It's faster, it's more capable, and it's going to make my videos in the future better. So definitely show your thanks to them by checking out the game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.